Well, there's a growing need for electrical capacity across the U.S., and it's leading to increased solicitation of farmers' land for solar or wind production. David Klein with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers joins us now with a few items to be on the lookout for if someone gets in contact with you about your land. David, a pleasure. Thank you for being here to kind of clarify this. So what can you share with farmland owners if a company does come calling at the door, if they do receive maybe an inquiry through the mail?
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne, for reaching out to us today. We hear about this new artificial intelligence and a little tidbit of information, stats. Chat GPT, which maybe we've heard of, takes about 10 times the amount of electricity as a regular search engine to get a better answer to a lot of our questions. And so we're going to need more electricity no matter what to use the new information that we need. And data centers have actually tripled in use in the past decade, and they think they could also triple again by 2028, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. So that could end up using 12% of the overall electricity across the U.S. So there is a need for it. If someone starts calling on you and they say, hey, we would like to put a solar farm on your farm. I manage about 80 fields. This is the stack of paper from my 80 fields that I've received inquiries on just in the last year. And so if you get that call, our advice is to educate yourself, get an advocate in your corner, whether that be a good attorney that's used to doing this. You may reach out to a farm management firm that actually specializes in this a little bit, or the state farm bureaus are actually tracking some of this stuff as well. So don't just sign the first agreement that comes to you. Don't sign up for mixed uses. If it's for solar only, that's fine maybe, but don't mix a battery storage facility, a data center, or any of that type of language in a contract. That's why you need an attorney to really review it and make sure there's no land altering restrictions, or make sure there are no, make sure those restrictions are in there so you don't have a land altering issue with your farm after they start construction.
Yeah, that is great advice. Get a lawyer to go over that. These contracts can get, I think, very wordy sometimes, and I think they try and trip us up a little bit. David, talk about how the prices of farmland are being affected should you have an operating solar field or something like this.
Right. So the rental rates on these are substantially more than we can produce with ag income. However, you have to read the fine print. Make sure that the acres they say they're going to use, you kind of have to divide that over the whole field that may be affected and divide that out to a per acre basis. So that way you get kind of the watered down version of what may actually be the rental rate to you. And then from a sales standpoint, there haven't been a lot of solar farm sales necessarily, very limited data on that. But what we have seen where they have, it's just been slightly above ag value. So it hasn't been substantial. Now, if someone calls you wanting to talk about a data center, that's a completely different story. Then you're talking about how much per square foot they should be paying you rather than per acre.
Let me ask you this. We're out of time, David, and I apologize, but real quick,
yeah.
Solar field, wind farm, I feel like we talk about either or at that point. Price difference compared to solar and wind farm, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so you're going to use up a lot more land with solar than you are with wind. Wind, you may use up an acre. You get to farm the rest of it. It's kind of an apples and oranges comparison, but in the end, different projects have different prices. It's always good to check with someone who knows.
All right, David, a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for joining us. David Klein with the American Society of Farm Managers and Rural Appraisers.